As we hear reports that North Korea might be preparing for another missile test.
North Korea may conduct another missile test. That's according to Washington's UN envoy as she addressed the press, citing reports by American media outlets. They speculate a long-range missile could be launched by the regime within days.
U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley told reporters tougher measures need to be drawn up against North Korea should the regime conduct another ballistic missile test.
As we hear reports that North Korea might be preparing for another missile test. I hope that does not happen. But if it does, we must bring even more measures to bear on the North Korean regime. We will never accept a nuclear North Korea.
Her remarks come after some U.S. media outlets reported that North Korea is getting ready to conduct another missile test, possibly later this week. CBS News reported on Tuesday that the North seems to be in the early stages of a launch cycle for another intercontinental ballistic missile. The activity was detected at the same sites where the regime fired its Hwasong-15 ICBM in late November, some 30 kilometers north of Pyongyang. And if there is to be a test, CBS reported it's likely to be within this week or early next week. Since last week, CNN has also reported, citing multiple U.S. officials, that there are new signs of the regime preparing for another missile test. And it's not likely to be a satellite, but a ballistic missile. Such signs come at a critical time on the Korean Peninsula when South Korea and all the relevant parties in the region are trying to keep things calm ahead of the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics to come in a month.
North Korea's call for a breakthrough in bilateral relations suggests it may happen. South Korea on Tuesday encouraged its neighbors' participation in the Games.
북한 김정은 위원장이 신년사에서
We welcome that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un expressed a willingness to send athletes to the Pyeongchang Olympics and to hold inter-Korea government talks during his New Year address. We believe this is in response to our proposal to make the Olympics an opportunity to improve inter-Korean relations.
South Korea has proposed high-level talks between the two countries in the border village of Panmunjom. China has welcomed the development.
China welcomes and supports North Korea and South Korea taking earnest efforts to treat this as an opportunity to improve mutual relations, promote the easing of the situation on the Korean peninsula, and realize denuclearization on the peninsula.
A South Korean analyst says North Korea will most likely agree to talks and to sending its skaters to the Olympic Games, but it will not agree to halting its missile tests.
If the mood around the Korean Peninsula stays neutral to negative towards North Korea, meaning that denuclearization is still on the top of the agenda, then the North Korea's ultimate participation in the Games will be unlikely.
U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, reiterated Tuesday that the United States will never accept a nuclear North Korea.
As we hear reports that North Korea might be preparing for another missile test. I hope that does not happen. But if it does, we must bring even more measures to bear on the North Korean regime. The civilized world must remain united and vigilant against the rogue state's development of a nuclear arsenal.
North Korea has carried out missile tests in defiance of international sanctions. South Korea is eager to ensure that no such tests mar the atmosphere at the Olympic Games in February.
South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff dismissed the possibility of another missile test by North Korea, saying, quote, "There are not enough factors to back up reports from overseas."
Back in 2016, Pyongyang cut off the communication hotline with the South. It was to protest Seoul's decision to shut down the Kaesong Joint Factory Park. Today, keeping with the tone set by its leader's New Year's speech, the regime restored the inter-Korean channel. Ji Myung-gil starts us off with the continued positive gesture from up north.
The chairman of North Korea's Committee on Inter-Korean Affairs announced Wednesday through state media that Kim Jong-un had approved the restoration of the military hotline.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has ordered the restoration of the South-North hotline starting 3 p.m. today. Through this channel, we will discuss matters related to sending a delegation to the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics and the proposed talks.
The committee's chair emphasized that on the orders of their leader Kim Jong-un, North Korean officials will cooperate with their South Korean counterparts, and he once again expressed hope for the success of the upcoming 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. The chairman went on to say that the North leader Kim Jong-un welcomed the decision by the South Korean presidential office to offer talks, calling it a positive move.
Our leader highly appreciates and welcomes President Moon Jae-in's support of his peace offer and has ordered thorough preparations for working-level talks.
However, it is unknown whether the two sides will talk only about sending North Korean athletes to the Pyeongchang Olympics, or whether they'll cover other issues such as inter-Korean family reunion and resuming civilian exchanges. South Korea's presidential office of Cheongwade welcomed the North reopening of the inter-Korean communication channel, saying it's a move toward making communication possible at all times. South Korea's Unification Ministry has also welcomed the North's restoration of the hotline, saying it will consult with North Korea on issues related to working-level talks.
The President, this administration are absolutely committed to continue to bring the full economic weight of the United States and these economic sanctions to bear on Iran. Now, we're also working with the Congress to arrive at a new agreement and a new set of conditions for sanctions going forward. The reality is the Iran nuclear deal was so ill-founded because, in part, it not only did it not deny that Iran could develop a nuclear weapon, by only being a 10-year agreement, it virtually guaranteed that they would develop a nuclear weapon after that 10-year period of time. What we want is to have a long-term agreement in place, long-term legislation in place that it says if at any time Iran attempts to obtain a usable nuclear weapon and the ballistic missiles to be able to deliver it, that all sanctions would be reimposed immediately. But all of those decisions going forward. But I think as you see what's happening on the streets of Iran, you have to believe that the sanctions that are in place today and additional pressure that we could bring to bear is having an effect on the nation, it's having an effect on the economy, and it's emboldening the people of Iran to be able to have the courage to step forward.
You brought up North Korea, and this will be my last question to you. Is the president has tweeted that he has a bigger button than Kim Jong-un. Is he playing with fire with Kim Jong-un and sort of tweeting, having this Twitter war with him back and forth?
President Trump has provided the kind of clear leadership on the world stage that's made measurable progress, particularly with regard to North Korea. And the message the president sent in the wake of Kim Jong-un's New Year's message, where while on the one hand he talked about wanting to reach out to his neighbors to the south, at the same moment he spoke of having missiles that could reach the United States and having a button on his desk. President Trump made it clear America will not be bullied, America will not be threatened, and that the United States of America has, by being clear, managed to marshal an unprecedented amount of economic and diplomatic pressure on North Korea. And after decades of North Korea stalling and ignoring the world community and continuing to develop nuclear and ballistic missiles, we're now literally beginning to see some movement among nations in the region. China is...
So you're not worried?
China is doing more than ever before. China needs to do more, but they're doing more than ever before to isolate North Korea economically and diplomatically. And I truly do believe that making it clear that all options are on the table, that as the President has done, making it clear that the United States of America has the capacity to defend our people far beyond anything North Korea could imagine, but also making it clear that if North Korea will abandon their nuclear and ballistic missile ambitions, if they will dismantle those programs, there's an opportunity for a peaceable solution.
Mr. Vice President, nice to see you. Thank you, sir.
Great to see you, Greta. Thank you.